Welcome to the Game Corner, another video game podcast. My name is Harris, and you might know me online as Rorix, and I'm joined, as always, by friend and co-host
Rowan. You might know me as Mocha. I don't know about always, but sometimes.
It's the catchphrase at this point. I don't know how to say other. I don't know how to start the podcast with other words. I think is really
fair enough.
It is now. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully this episode, everyone can hear Rowan the whole time.
I want to apologize. I thought if they could hear me, that everybody could hear me. Apparently not. So there's just like a big old gap wherever I'm supposed to be speaking.
Well, so apparently it's the first like so many minutes of the last episode. It just wasn't there, but your captions were there. So like Riverside heard you, and then in the output of this episode, Riverside said, "No, we're gonna just not have. We're not gonna bump Rowan's audio up at all." For some reason, to be fair, that could be something that I did wrong when I exported the tracks, or the whole thing. I don't know, but it's really, really funny, and it was actually our secret agenda to push everyone to watch the videos on YouTube and Spotify. So
there we go. It was all part of the plan.
Yes.
Professionals.
Does being paid by Patreon make us professional? Anyway,
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. Anyway, that's a great time to say, hey, if you want to support us, you can find our Patreon in the link tree down below.
And our OnlyFans, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, anyway.
No, my OnlyFans are both off, right? That's why you don't hear them in the background. Anywho, hey, how are you doing, Rowan?
I'm doing great. I just got back from a fantastic weekend. I had a really good time in Baltimore at the regionals there. Barely missed day 2, which is unfortunate, but I had a great time anyway. I brought that guy in the background, red eyes, purple ghost. I was really happy to bring a Gengar to it. It was I had a great time prepping for it. Got to hang out with like a bunch of different groups of people. I feel like at most of these regionals, we kind of like stay insular, like you like choose a clique and you stick to it. And this time I just it was one of the first regionals where I really felt like this was a big community. I could hang out with a bunch of different people and
Look at that social butterfly Rowan.
I had 2 dinners after day 1.
Okay, he's also part Hobbit too.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, they have really good crab in Baltimore, in Maryland, obviously, I guess, but it's also really expensive. Like, I don't know if I do that again, but I have experienced that now, so that's good.
That is exciting. I might be what I'm most envious of is good food. So. But yeah, let's just jump into Baltimore, right? So Baltimore was this past weekend. It was the first Regulation H tournament, or major, I should say. I guess there's been tournaments, right? Grassroots and other things.
Yeah, in-person, official, whatever, yeah.
Yeah. So we had on September 14th and 15th, 647 masters convened in Baltimore and had, not only is it the first Reg H, it's the first major with the new format.
Yeah, of the season,
yeah. So talk on that.
Yeah, so really, honestly, like, you can say whatever you want about the top 75s thing, but like, in terms of how they've organized the tournament now, it's so much better. So it's only 8 rounds. We didn't get a real lunch break. We got a de facto lunch break because every so often there'd be dozo mirrors. So
nice.
Just genuinely, the first round got held up for like a half hour. We were all just like sitting around this pair of people clicking order up into each other. No, 8 rounds. It just mentally is such a big difference to only play 8 instead of 9.
Sure.
And on top of that, what was I going to say? The day 2 is only 3 rounds of Swiss. And then into cut, which can be a little longer. So like the day 2 probably takes around, if you win the tournament, you probably play a similar amount of rounds that you normally would.
Sure.
So if you don't seed well, the people who seed well actually get a bye in the first round of cut. So that's not bad either. But yeah, so like, it's just less mentally taxing. Yeah.
So wait, how is top cut determined then for day 2?
It's a hard cutoff, so I love this too. If I had played like I did in Orlando, I would have like been like high in cut for this, right? So just like day 2, it's X2. So and it's combined with your first day record. So if you make it to day 2 with a 6-2 record, which is the minimum needed, you have to win all 3 of your Swiss rounds to advance the top cut. Similarly, if you go 7-1, you're allowed to lose 1 and so on. But it is a hard cutoff. It doesn't matter what your resistance is. If you go X2 on day 1, you make day 2. If you go X2 on day 2, you make cut.
That's actually pretty good.
I love that.
at that point it's X2 in 11 rounds. Is that my math right?
Effectively, yes. And so on top of that, what that means is that your cut is going to probably be asymmetrical.
Sure.
Yeah, you're probably not going to have a perfectly even number of people. And for that reason, you end up with like a really awkward situation. Like my friend Toller made cut, and not only made cut, he did very well, so he got a bye in the first round. But it was weird because other people got buys too. So you'd think like if multiple people got buys, why wouldn't you just have them play against each other?
Yeah,
it's because they did well enough that they earned that buy, and their first round is going to be a round further.
Okay.
Yeah, so the asymmetrical cut just means some people will play more rounds than others in that cut, depending on how good or bad their record was. And that is where res does come into account. Some people who go X2 might make it into the bye rounds, and some people won't. But if that's the extent of the, like, my resistance messed me up, then that's pretty good, in my opinion, at least compared to how it used to be, right?
Yeah, for sure, right? Because what's nice about this, right, what it boils down to is as you go through your day, not only do you have less rounds to play, which is genuinely really nice. We love playing this game though. So playing less of it is good. But despite that, like you have the you know your stamina goes a little further, right, with less rounds, which is nice.
Yeah.
But then also you know exactly how you're gonna go, right? Like you have the X and 2, as opposed to, well, some X3s might make it in.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not like
before.
that. The only thing that res can do is like cutoffs for points. Yeah, so I lost. I went 5-3 on day one. But my 3 losses were all to day 2 players. One of whom was Brendan Zhang, and the other one was Lorenzo Arce, who made top 8. So like that res was so good that even though I went 5-3, I still squeaked in the top 128. And like,
nice.
And the new points for this system is fantastic too. I got 80 points for top 128, which is exactly as many points as I got for top 16 in Orlando, right? So like,
whoa, yeah, good point.
It's kind of wild, but yeah. So like, there's a bit of a consolation for playing strong players. That's what res is supposed to do, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's definitely nice. Yeah. Overall, format of the tournament was fantastic. I really enjoyed the games too. Like I played a lot of meta teams, a lot of very creative teams. Lorenzo, who beat me in the win-in, had such a cool team, like Scarf coaching Annihilate with a Dozo and multi-scale Dragonite. So
I looked at his 6 on the page here on Victory Road, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty normal generic looking team. And then you said the word you just said, and I was like, oh, yeah, no,
it's very cool because you have this. He leads Dozo and Ape, right? And so you were just immediately on a 50-50. Like, is he going to final gambit and like take a disadvantageous trade? Because if Dozo locks in and you only have 3 mons and you can only pivot 1 slot, it's a lot harder to take out Dozo. But he can also just protect Dozo and click coaching, which he did to me. And then all of a sudden the Dozo starts off with +3 instead of +2. Or I can even just go, he can coach it again and be +2, and the Dozo still puts on pressure before Tatsugiri even comes out on the field, right?
Right.
And it gets the defense boost too. So if you're a physical team like mine was, that becomes a problem. So yeah, very cool team. Love to see stuff like that. And he was not the only one with like really cool innovations like that. The finals were like, I had to leave before the finals to make my flight, but even just like over the stream, hearing it, like the people counting for the pop bomb was very, very fun.
That's very
like,
good.
Even it was so loud. Even it was like it overpowered the announcers on the TCG final stream.
Oh wow!
Yeah. It was hype.
That's actually pretty exciting. It's nice because I feel like in the last maybe even year of the tournaments we've been going to, that kind of hype hasn't existed.
Yeah, no, I think Reg H has really revitalized the game for a lot of people. Granted, we usually just don't even go to the venue on the second day if we don't make day 2. So like, also there's true. That. But
at the same point, right? Like, we don't do that because we never have felt the need to.
Yeah, but it's pretty hype. And granted, so like I was with a huge group of people, so we were able to like stake out a row in the finals, right? We'd like, nice. If anybody was off getting food or playing their game, we'd send the other ones to like sit there with all our luggage and like as soon as someone gets up, like spread out and like take this row. And so when we were all together, we all got to watch it, and it was pretty hype. Yeah, no, I just cannot say enough like how cool seeing all the like different teams people created, because like there was very standard meta stuff. My first couple rounds were just me beating up our Chaldon players, but like after that I had like set up Como stuff, which countered with so my team was half very standard Rillaboom, Clefable, and King Gambit, and
Mhm.
half just like patches for matchups. Mirror Herb, Fire Tauros, Life Orb, Pelipper, and Gengar.
Okay.
Like all kind of like low BST like trash mons, but they solved a problem for me.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
Como used the Clangorous Soul, which gives it an Omni boost. And then my Tauros was there with its Mirror Herb and also got the Omni boost, and then was faster. And then it lowered, and then the Como lowered its defenses with its Spread Dragon move.
Yeah. Whatever.
Killed my Sidemon, allowed my Pelipper to come in. Wide Guard stops your Dragon move the second turn. Now you're down in defense stage. I'm up attack stage. One shot.
Wow.
And so you get like really cool interactions like this. Like I don't know. I was very excited to play, even though I missed the day 2. Like all the pieces did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was very fun.
Well, I think that's like that is the best way to walk away from this tournament. Tournaments like this, right? Like,
Yeah.
even if you didn't necessarily get to day 2 or top cut or whatever, like, but when you can walk away and say, hey, my team did exactly what it was supposed to do. I played the way I wanted to. I got to see the interactions that I expected, or even cool ones I didn't. And like, that's, I don't know. And you still got 80 points, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's not bad at all, right? And the ones I played, like so Brendan Zhang was cool guy, very quiet. I think he was like very like focused on playing the game. He 2-0'd me, so fair enough. But like, could see him planning multiple moves in advance was very cool. I thought I had myself in a winning position, and then like I'll with like my setup King Gambit and my fake out Rillaboom comes in. It's like, oh no, he set this up perfectly so his Mon would die, such that Sneasler comes in and can fake me out faster than my boom. Like it was all very well done. And what was it? Oh, I got to play against someone who I'd been listening to for ages, Stephen Morioka. He was on a podcast with Alex Underhill for the longest time, and I'm now blanking on the name of the podcast, but it was Hyper Voice.
I was gonna say, yeah, Hyper
Yeah,
Voice.
the Hyper Voice. It was really like, I recognized his voice as we played. It was very cool, and he was just playing standard Dozo, and we had a great set. I managed to take that one, which was nice. But yeah, like it, just getting to like hang out with and meet all these people who I generally only like seen on the internet or heard was yeah, really good time. And then I guess we want to open up Victory Road. Like the teams that made cut were really cool. I mean, the story of the weekend, even though he didn't win, was Wolfie. It was really cool to see, because we had all run into Wolfie's team on the high ladder, but nobody knew who it was. Ability Guy was the name? The name on Showdown.
Don't handle Ability Guy. Okay, so Wolfie had a Hisuian Typhlosion, Toedscruel, Corviknight, Galarian Weezing, Garchomp, and Pawmot.
And it's absolutely brilliant. So
yeah, walk me through this
yeah, so he was 9th place. Yeah, he just barely miscut. Tragic. Okay, so it's all around Galarian Weezing, right? There's so many mons in this format that are like, they hinge on their ability, right? So automatically denying ability is good, but most Weezings go for a really supportive set, like Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, Protect, and Sludge Bomb or something, right? And it's usually because they just want to stay on the field as long as possible so that their partner that is taking advantage of there being no abilities can continue to benefit from that. But the problem with that is that you end up with like a semi-dead slot. It's just a support slot next to your mon, and like they can just either double the Weezing or continue to kill Weezing's friends, like even without their ability. But this one is choice specs, so it's putting on pressure. Toedscruel in particular. So Toedscruel and Typhlosion are the two big ones that are taking advantage of Weezing here. And everyone remembers, like Mycelium may not remember, but they did at the beginning of the sort of Scarlet and Violet. Mycelium Might was like this borderline Regigigas / slacking style ability, where you gave this very fast Mon Spore, but you gave it an ability that made all its status moves go at negative priority.
I see.
But when Toedscruel is next to Weezing, it gets a base 100 speed Spore.
I see.
So you give it Covert Cloak, you give it Spore, and you give it Acid Spray, which cuts opponents' special defense in half. And suddenly your Specs Weezing is one-shotting things.
Yes, I see. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then on top of that, you have Hisuian Typhlosion with a Choice Scarf and Terra Fire. Usually you deal with Hisuian Typhlosion by controlling the weather, by setting Tailwind to attack it first, right? But how do you set Tailwind before a mon with Scarf? Usually with Prankster. Prankster is gone. How do you set Weather? Usually with Prankster.
with
Chinese Spear's
abilities.
gone, or with Drizzle.
Yeah.
Drizzle's also gone. Yeah, so he just pulls out the Wheezing and the Typhlosion and blasts you like, sorry, your Archelodon doesn't get to click Electro Shot and it might just die because its special defense is so bad.
I was confused as like why is taking when you said Typhlosion is benefiting from, I was like, why is taking Blaze away good? And then I realized it's taking away the things that affect Typhlosion. Right? Yes.
And then otherwise just good mons, right? Like Garchomp actually popped off this weekend. It wasn't like I don't like, Garchomp kind of benefits from Wheezing just in that Rough Skin is kind of whatever, right? Like Garchomp is just, it's more of a beater than it is taking advantage of its ability. Like it's just a bonus. But good ground damage in this format's really hard to come by. So Life Orb Garchomp like really popped off here. The other thing is that everybody was, including myself to some degree, was singing of Incen's demise and
Incen's here. I was going to say,
if you look at the top 8,
yeah,
that was not true.
Yeah, 6 of the top 8 has Incen. So
yeah. I thought Palchua's team it was like, it's kind of boring, but I like it a lot. It's just very well balanced. It had like, it's got that Fairy Steel Dragon core. It's got Garchomp plus Dragonite with like Flying Terra Blast plus Earthquake is so good. And he just played it like the player he is, right? Like really strong balance with it, Incin, Amoonguss, and pseudo legendaries that'll bop you, right? And and then of course the winner, Nicholas Morales. I guess we're not surprised that Arch Rain won the first regional, right? But
yeah, I was gonna say.
But I still thought this was very cool. The Pop Bomb Mousehold on this team was absolutely the star. So it, first of all, in one of the games, it pop bombed the Archeludon. So usually you see beat up on those teams. But in this case, no, you go straight to +6 defense. And as your defense goes up, you take the pop bombs better. So it only lost like 10-20% or something from the entire 10-hit pop bomb.
Sure.
And then proceeded to +6 body press everything to death.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and then the next game, like the deciding one, the one everybody was hyped about, it pop bombed the multi-scale Dragonite and no-code it. But there's always, even with wide lenses, that 1% chance every hit that it'll miss. So everybody's just on the edge of their seat, like, does he take it? Because if he doesn't, then the Dragonite Garchomp combo wins. But
I can see that being fun. That would be a fun thing to go back and watch. I did not see any of the stream from this weekend. I also see in a lot of the top 8 here the same 3 Mon in Goldango, Porygon 2.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, that is the other story. Forget Goldango for a second. Porygon P2 is very good, right?
Yeah.
That was definitely something to take away from this. But can we talk about the multiple Flamingos?
Yeah, okay. I also see. Well, they have the same exact team, right?
They do. So Toller and Chris are both in the same building group. And if you scroll down, I think he went. Unfortunately, he went 5-3 as well. Like me, Yocham was running exactly the same team as well, and a lot of people picked up on this. Unfortunately, I didn't talk about it until now because this was their secret sauce for a minute, which was Flamigo on the Incin P2 Ursa team. Because it is an amazing mirror breaker. So Scrappy with close combat is so good because you can hit ghosts, you don't get intimidated, and you blast through Incin, you blast through P2. You don't OHKO, but if you're Stellar Terra, you can. And then Brave Bird does a ton of damage into Amoonguss. Like it does super effective damage into Goldango. Close combat OHKO's Goldango, and Flamigo is faster than Goldango.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, so, and, most of these, especially the offensive Goldangos, are going Terra Steel, so they can't get out of that.
Right.
Yeah, so Flamigo was an amazing adaptation. For better or worse, Yocham competed in a grassroots tour a couple weeks before this and went 10-0. So unfortunately drew attention to it. So if you scroll down the list, you actually will see quite a few Flamigo. Jeremy Parson in 29th place. I don't have a control F for sprites on here. Liu Feiyang, a Chinese player, in 55th place. It's these Hemi tours and all that are like pretty like widely distributed at this point. Like people can see all the results. They're like automatically pulled into tools where people can see performance of different mons, right? So it's just kind of a word of warning to keep your sauce to yourself, or at least don't compete in big tournaments with it because it can get out. There are apparently a lot of European players building with Flamigo now too. It serves such a niche. It was going to get discovered eventually. It's just, if you happen to be the person who discovered it first, it kind of sucks to have it get out.
Yeah, or if you bring it to a tournament.
Yeah, well, genuinely, that's what a lot of people will do is like they will test the first 3-4 rounds of a 10-round tournament, right? And then once they're like, okay, I've got my practice, I know this works. It like I know I can play in best of 3 on cart with this team.
Right.
I'm done. I'm dropping or I'm throwing or whatever. Like, sorry, I don't have the time to finish your tournament. Bye.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's a fair point.
yeah, but you know, I definitely would also get high on going 10-0 against in a big tour, right? So
yeah, it would be tough to hold back. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it says if you're gonna do that, do it with a bog standard team, right? Like,
right.
Oh no, you're gonna steal my unique idea of using Incineroar and Amoonguss together, like. And there's stories about that. So Ryan Lassetto, Sableye, VGC, his team was really standard for the most part. But he had a unique take on Volcarona moving up into the tournament. And he thought, okay, I don't want anybody to take my Volcarona set, but I want to play in this grassroots tour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like a Jokemon in that slot and just play with it, see what happens. And it was Blaziken. And it turned out Blaziken did really, really well. Like speed boost in this low-powered format, speed boost and stab and fighting stab and flare blitz. And he used coaching. Swords Dance is also an option there. Like, turned out Blaziken was amazing. He brought Blaziken and went day 2 with it. So like,
yep, I see he has it.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff. There's a few Greninja in there. Like,
I saw the Greninjas.
Matt Tidd brought a Cinderace. Like, very cool stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, we knew we said this last week. Whether or not you can hear Rowan say it, we said it last week. We said it, I think, even the episode before that. But like, as we get into Reg H, we're going to see a lot of these very creative things come out. And I mean, this first major tournament, I mean, you can look at the top 8 and see like, oh, well, Incineroar, and you know, there's these three in Goldango P2 and insert physical ground type dominated that. But like, if you just look a little past the top 8, you're gonna see a lot of creative things.
Yeah,
I mean, 14th place is an Volbeat.
Exactly. Yeah, Volbeat and Illumise have both made top 16 of a regional now, by the way, like in this generation. Pretty crazy. It just took them like what 2 decades since being released to get good. But yeah, no, and honestly, even within the top 8, like, yes, there are some copies, but Vivian in 6th place, right?
Yep.
Like, I would say, like, okay, so the first place team's a little standard, but even then, Pop Bomb Mousehold hasn't been seen since Reggae, so that's very cool.
Yeah,
like,
that's fun.
Alolan Ninetales has never made. I don't think has ever made. The only time it's ever made cut was on the Articuno team, which was also really unique, right?
Right.
And then, like, beyond that, every other team had some pretty neat stuff. Like C Dawei, like, they have 6 like relatively normal mons, but I thought the way they used them was very, very cool. Like, just picking people apart. Like, we got to see one of their games on stream where they won before they eventually lost. But it was rough. They played against a player with only special mons, and they sat there clicking light screen and struggle bug and just watching the, like, it was so sad. Their opponent had a Hisuian Typhlosion and it kept clicking eruption, and it did literally like sub 5 damage per hit.
Wow. Yeah, this team's interesting too, because I mean, like, looking at it, it's Dawei's team is Goldango P2, Annihilate, Grimmsnarl, Ursaluna, and Volcarona, which maybe isn't like a bog standard team. It's 6 good mon, but I don't think we've seen them, you know, together.
Yeah, and usually Volcarona runs a Quiver Dance set, right? So like set of attacker. So you need to see it as a pure support.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah, and then like Sneasler didn't make top cut, but it did really, really well throughout the tournament. It was bane of my existence despite adding like a counter for it. Like, it's still rough. If you go down to 22nd, you can see James Evans had a Chandelure on their team. Nick Navarre at 19th had a Breloom, really cool. Breloom's always one of those mons that, like, it seems like it should be good, but it's always just missing a little bit. And it popped off this time. 33rd, there was a Quaquavel, the duck.
That thing's not a Pokemon. Why is that there?
It's just a guy in a duck suit. I don't know what's happening. Noah with the Hypno.
Yeah, I saw that.
He said he brought it to exactly like 1 or 2 games, but it did, like, it was there for a job. It imprisons Trick Room and it hazes Dondozo, and it's very bulky. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
And then it clicks Expanding Force on your opponent with their Psychic Terrain and against Side Spam, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, there's so much room to be creative in this format. Like you can't do nonsense, but you can do cool stuff. Like you are not shoehorned into like just playing metamons. Yeah, VJ Sood, who by the way had one of the best day one runs, did it with a Scyther and a Snorlax.
Scyther. And wait, which one was this?
Eviolite Technician Scyther with dual wing beat.
That's okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, so it's bulky. It does good damage. Scyther's attack stat is not bad. I forget exactly what it is, but like here, Scyther Pokemon DB. Yeah, it's got a 110 attack stat. That's reasonable.
That's pretty good for right now. Yeah.
That's like that's Hisui and Arcanine's attack stat. That's 5 weaker than like it's a mon that people put Choice Band on just to smack you with, right? And then it gets Technician boosted dual wing beat. That's base 120 flying physical stab, and it gets Eviolite bulk. And its bulk is pretty solid too. With Eviol, it has base 80 in both of its defenses. Like
that is pretty good.
You multiply it, and it gets a free +1 in each while doing that crazy dual wing beat damage. Like it's a pretty cool idea. Nobody thought to do it.
What place was that in?
Where did they finish? VJ finished 56th. So yeah, top 64, nice. 100 CP with Scyther.
Yep, there it is. Wow. That's with Meowscarada, Blaze Tauros, Prim, Scyther, Sylveon, and Snorlax.
Yeah, the Snorlax is also really spicy. Like the rest of the mon's relatively normal, I guess, but like
sure.
Yeah, very very cool stuff.
And look at that 126th place, right?
Yeah, there you go. I barely snuck onto Victory Road with
Rillaboom, this one, right? Pelipper, Gengar. What a neat team. Very good though.
Yeah, so I had a fantastic weekend. Like it was I will say the bar scene in Baltimore not my favorite. And also like I've walked around in some like I live in Atlanta. I've walked around in downtown Atlanta when at night when I probably shouldn't have, and I'm usually fine. Like I walked from so my Yotam had a thing where we all got some drinks between day 1 and day 2 because especially for those of us who didn't make day 2, like whatever, I'm going to celebrate, right?
Sure.
Fantastic bar in his house. And then decided, okay, like I'm going to go and try to meet people at night. And they told me where everybody was meeting up. And so I walked because why not? And I realized about 20 minutes into my walk that it was probably safest for me to call a car.
Really? No,
like, I'm not easily sketched out by city streets. So I was like, ooh.
That must have been a fun feeling.
Luckily, there's also a lot of Ubers in cities, so it's fine. Oops. Just yanked on my camera cord there.
Just want to show more of your pictures.
There we go.
More of your wall. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so I think that's mostly it on Baltimore. I could go on for ages on teams, but yeah, I thought this was like a fantastic event. They put it on really well. The space between rows was really good. I hope they keep doing that.
That's the big thing, right? Like the physical.
someone with a wheelchair could feasibly sit down at the right seat, right? Like that seems like it should have been something that they were already working on, but whatever.
Yeah, that's very true. Let's see. I was gonna pull.
There was a Qdoba inside the venue, like not just inside the venue, like inside the.
In the hall?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What more do you need?
Exactly. It wasn't a hot dog that was made of like questionable parts. Yeah, so there we go.
Let's see. I'm trying to pull up the usage. Oh gosh, pictures here, but they're very small for some.
Yeah, day 1 and day 2 usage stats.
Yeah, just to go over it. Interestingly enough, Rillaboom. Actually, yeah, the fact that Incin isn't even top 4, right? It's the 5th most used, but it did so well in day 2.
Yeah.
Not surprising, really, in all things.
And this is the story of every format too. Like I think what was it? Mike on Pokesports always talks about the Amoonguss theorem, right? Like
the Amoonguss factor. Yes.
Factor. There we go. Incineroar has the same story every format. It's like I don't think Incineroar is very good this format, and then inevitably a good player does really well with it because they're good, and Incineroar is good, and you just have to. It's not a baseball bat. You can't beat people to death with it, but it's a scalpel. And if you know how to use a scalpel, you will accomplish great things in life. Like it always does well. And then the rest of the format is people respecting Incineroar again. Like
I feel like we'll see these numbers go up, right?
It will be number 1 again next tournament, which I will also be at. I am 100% decided on going to Louisville now. So
yeah. I need to decide which tournaments that I'm going to this before the end of the year. because if it's fun, I want to go play Mons.
You should probably start playing Mons at home first, but yeah,
I probably should do that too. That's a different story, but accurate. Yeah. I need to see what tournaments are actually already announced for the end of the year, between now and the end of the year. There's Louisville, there's Vancouver.
Is it Vancouver or Toronto? I forget. It's some Canadian tournament.
Yeah, somewhere up north, eh?
Let's see, what do we got? We got the Victory Road schedule. Louisville, then Sacramento, then Toronto. Toronto's in December. Toronto. Vancouver's not till March.
Oh, okay.
And it will be in G. So
okay. Well, I'll see. I'll consult the books and see how I feel like traveling.
Sacramento Regional looks like it's literally during Thanksgiving. I don't know how I feel about that.
That's pretty bad. That's bad planning.
Goodbye, family. I don't need you. I just need Pokemon.
Sure. But yeah, so the top two slots for usage, you go to Rillaboom and Goldango, which is interesting.
Yeah, unsurprising. Although not a single Rillaboom in top 8, so something to
think about. I think that's why it's weird, right? Like because
the difference between day 2 and top cut is stark.
True.
There's several mons in here that are like that, where they had great day 2 representation, but none of them made cut.
Right. Everything else you can kind of expect. You have King Gambit doing well, Prim staying in top 6 for both days. Pelipper was in the top 12 for both, along with Archaludon. And Ursaluna bumped up.
Yeah.
And so did Sneasler.
There's a story here, right? Like Ursaluna and then Ursaluna was barely there on day 1, but it moved up on day 2, and Porygon 2 showed its face on day 2 as well. Yep. I think people it was a little boring. It's not that flashy, right? Like you need turns to get your Ursaluna burned and unintimidated and ready to sweep and under Trick Room. All these things, like P2 Ursa is not an easy archetype to play. Like you really have to opponent and put yourself in the right board state to actually sweep. But by the time you get to day 2, it's only players who are capable of doing that. And so multiple of those in top 8.
That makes sense then.
And P2 is a borderline restricted Pokemon. Like if you look at its stats after Eviolite and a download boost, it's insane. You're basically bringing a Lunala to like a low tier format. Like it's very, very good. And so it just, and then the Flamigo is the mirror breaker on there, like doing well as well. Like it's unsurprising to see that pop up after having seen the tournament. And Dragonite moving in. I was honestly a doubter of Dragonite in this format. I have to write my apology for him to my favorite Mon too. Like it's it's really good. It just has the bulk. There's a lot of fire, water, grass in this format, so just eating those hits is so nice. Flying Terra Blast destroys things. AVD Knight walls a lot. It walled me. That was why I lost my win in as well. It's just I just couldn't break through an AVD Knight, or even a Lumd Knight was hard. Yeah, so. Or I guess multi-scale was a thing. And then, Arch Rain moving down. Like someone won with Arch Rain, but every other slot, not so much. Like they won on the back of their very unique decision to put Pop Bomb Mousehold on that team. Like I guarantee if it was just if it was the standard 6 on that Arch Rain team, they would not have won the tournament.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Probably wouldn't have even made top 8. Like it was like creative team building decisions will take you really far in this format. Yeah,
and we get what, 3 more months of this?
Yeah, we get to enjoy watching it. Yeah, even if we don't make it, it's like just been a very good
regulation to watch. Very good
for sure.
To see.
Definitely a spectator sport for not people who aren't concerned with EV spreads, right? Like,
right.
So speaking of fun things to watch, fun things to play, moving on from Baltimore, we have the first grand challenge of the season. This is like another thing they've done to try to make the World's Race more accessible and to counteract the top 75 thing for NA. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot more of these online tournaments. It's just a ladder tour, closed team sheet, best of 1, pure degeneracy. But there's a ton of points on the line.
Prepare your cheese.
Exactly. Ton of points on the line, like even more than last. You could get hundreds of points last season. You can get even more now. The grand challenge, the reason, the distinction between a grand challenge and a global challenge now is that grand challenges do not include Asian countries. I don't know about all Asian countries, but at least like Japan, Korea, etc. Right? Those countries will have global challenges will include them because those will be used to. It's some measure of their qualifications for something. I think they have to qualify for Japan Nats, and then how you do in Japan Nats decides whether you get to Worlds or not.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Whereas Grand Challenges are not. So the rating that you see for yourself, the rank that you see for yourself on your Switch screen when you're playing here is your actual ranking, and that is what will determine how many points you get from it. When it was Global Challenges, we all had to just like kind of estimate how many Japanese players were ahead of us. And
I didn't catch that there was actually a differentiation between Global last season and Grand this season.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I've got my team. I hadn't touched the closed team sheet best of one ladder in a long time. I just kind of picked it up today. Like, it's actually not that hard. You just kind of click your go buttons and things die, and people don't know what to do because they don't know what you're about to click on them. Like,
yeah,
I'm just gonna click Specs Make It Rain for like 45 games and see what happens. Like,
and it's the same as before, right? 15 games a day.
Yes, exactly. And there's some smart things you can do around like when you play your games and all that.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think the rewards are that good. So you may not be able to like beat up on as many people who's looking for like some reward. There is a reward, but I think it's like bottle caps or something. So I don't know how many people are going to go out of their way to play the 3 games to get those.
Oh, sure. In-game resource rewards. Yeah. I will be out of country, so I won't be able to play the game.
Unfortunately, what are you doing?
I'm going on a cruise.
Where?
To the Caribbean.
Okay,
so I could theoretically.
I did was it a Caribbean cruise? I did do a Caribbean cruise right when Scarlet and Violet Showdown ladder first came out. Like the pre-reggae, pre-series 1. And was just desperately like, I was sitting in the sun, sunbathing by the pool and playing Best of 1 Showdown, just clicking Chen Pao Flutter Chi Yu.
Oh, sure.
And that was novel at the time. And I was oh man, I'm at 1700s. I'm just pressing this button, and like every 4 seconds I'd have to click reconnect. The internet was so bad on the cruise ship.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, do I pay for internet on a cruise ship to sit at the pool?
You should anyway, even if you're not going to play Showdown. Like,
I don't know.
Oh no, there's no reconnect feature in the Switch. Absolutely do not. You will just lose. Like
that's a fair point.
You will disconnect like within the first 2 turns.
That definitely puts a damper on that.
Were you really going to though? Like,
no, probably not. Actually, if we did decide to purchase internet, I would 100% grab a team and go online just to see how bad it is. And to say that I played in a grand challenge at poolside on a boat.
There you go. Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I had like a very, very, very like fun Insta picture of like, you know, the feet by the pool and then just like but my phone was Showdown there. Like,
yes, that's very good. So I mean, we're literally just hang out on the boat, like not doing anything exciting or anything, right? So hey, relaxing, Pokemon, maybe, but yeah. So make sure that y'all are, because you have, is this one of those deals where you have to register before?
You do. You need to lock your team before. It's tomorrow, as of the day we were recording, which is the Wednesday before the GC. You need to register by Thursday night, and I don't know what time it is. I'm pretty sure it's global. It's like it's the same time for everybody, regardless of your time zone. I'm going to lock my team tonight because I already know what I'm playing. So
there's a non-zero chance this episode doesn't come out in time. So
yeah, unfortunate. That's fine. That's my fault for delaying us a day. But yeah.
Oh no, that's fine. No, I mean if people are getting all of their Pokemon news from us, then thank you. But also, why?
Yeah. Cannot be taking that this seriously.
Very true. But yeah, so that'll be interesting. I am curious to see. I'm curious for your report on how that goes over the weekend.
Maybe good, maybe not. I don't know. I've just been clicking Make It Rain into the ladder and like watching Mons die, and it seems to be working. So I'm gonna do that and hope it works out fine. Like, we'll see what happens. I don't have a whole lot of ego tied up in this.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go into this, right? Because again, best of 1 closed team sheet. Yeah, it's very much a different format than what we.
And it's not seeded. It's borderline random. Like you can kind of game the system a little bit, but like it is what it is at some point.
Yeah, so I get that. I'm with you on that. Well, Rowan, aside from Pokemon and work from what you said last night, have you been playing anything else?
No, at this point, I'm probably not going to. I'll be honest with you. Like,
yeah, are you getting locked into Pokemon for the season?
I kind of am. Yeah, well, I mean, Louisville's less than a month away. It's on October 11th. Yeah, weekend of October 11th. Yeah, so not long to prepare, and I kind of want to play something different this time. Kind of only going to use Mons with a high BST this time around. It was fun to like push the envelope with half trash Mons, but we're not doing that.
And say, do you feel like that was I mean, saying that's the weak part of your team seems disingenuous, but like that was the
Yeah,
last
I would say because my team had great matchups into it had a matchup into all of the major archetypes. If I had played things that people had names on
sure.
every round, I feel pretty confident I would have gone. I would
Okay.
have made day 2 on that. But like once you hit weird stuff, you're kind of just smashing stats into each other, and if your stats are lower, it's a lot harder to win. So yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
if my like King Gambit and Rillaboom and Clefable were all like pretty solid stats, Clefable even to a lesser extent, right? It
Yeah,
was really just King Gambit and Rillaboom who were like good Pokemon, and the
actually
rest,
carrying the team. Yeah.
and the rest just kind of like did a job, and if the job didn't exist, you're like throw up your hands.
I see. That makes sense. Neat. What have I been doing?
What have you been doing? Who are you, Harrison?
Okay, so I might cut this out of the episode, maybe not. But this past weekend was my birthday.
Ooh, happy birthday, belated.
Yeah. Thank you. And it was great. We had a lot of fun. Several different meals. It was really just every celebration was a meal, which isn't a bad thing.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. We had like a really nice. I got like a nice sushi boat with some friends.
I saw that picture.
One night,
that was good. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was very good. That's in Discord. We went to Epcot Food and Wine, which was fun. Just go get some snacks around.
I've done the Epcot food tour before. It's every year so often they put like a festival where you're like around the world.
It's 3 months out of the year now. They do this specific one. Yeah.
I remember having to go like specifically the week that they did it around.
Yeah,
Christmas
no,
time.
It's grown to whatever it is now. And that was fun. And then Sunday, my actual birthday, my body said, "Hey, I want to go to the ER."
Neat. I was about to say instinctually, not neat. I guess you're fine now. Like,
yeah, I am fine now. I woke up with like a terrible headache, for no reason, but the worst headache I've ever had in my life. So to the point where like I woke up in the morning and Becca's like, "We're going to the ER," which was wild. Several hours and a CAT scan and blood test later, they found no issue, so that was fine.
Skill issue?
I guess.
I hope you're okay. I'm ribbing you, but
no, as you should. It's all good now. I went back home, took a 4-hour nap, and then woke up, and I was like, I guess I'm good. I don't know.
Does insurance cover like random headaches at the ER?
I haven't gotten that bill yet.
This is America.
Yeah, I know. Whew. And there's insurance and work stuff also is a whole other discussion that I'm currently having with coworkers too, because we're changing stuff at my job. But I guess the fun part is I'm going to try and have a follow up with a neurologist and tell I have headaches and migraines all the time. That's not abnormal for me, but the severity that it was is just off the charts. So maybe I can finally have someone tell me why my brain is broken. So that'll be fun. And then the rest of another meal with my in-laws and my parents. It was all great. So that was the totality of my birthday weekend and why I wasn't at Baltimore. Which, wait, oh my gosh, if that had happened while I was at Baltimore, that'd be terrible. Anyway.
You would have had crab to nourish your head. I don't think it would have happened.
Crab would have, maybe that's the secret. I need to have
lack of crab in your diet.
Yeah.
All the crab and sushi is spelled with a K. It's not real stuff. Yeah.
That's not. Have you had actual crab sushi?
I have. Maybe question mark. Maybe you presumably did in Japan. I don't know. Did they even put crab in sushi in Japan? Like.
Wait. Did I have it in Japan? No. I had all fish. I think I've had crab sushi. Okay. I think crab
is like sea bug, sea insect.
Yeah, but it's good.
It is delicious. I had a lot of it. It's so expensive. The first night I had crab for every meal, and one night 2 dinners in a row. Yeah.
Every meal. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. So the first night we just went to a dive bar, but it was like a fisherman dive bar thing. I don't know. Whatever. It's all Maryland. And and they had crab cakes and said market price. And I was like, you know what? Fine. It's only 2 crab cakes. I'll handle market price. At the bill, it was $45 for 2 crab cakes. $22 a crab cake. $22.50 per crab cake.
How big of a crab?
Like, no one can see this. This is a podcast. Like,
yeah, I know. You tell me. I'm curious.
Like smaller than my fist, I'd say. Like, it was
a normal crab cake, right? Like
a normal size crab cake. It was more crab than cake, which I guess is like not what you get outside of Maryland. But like, you have to be pretty wealthy to live on crab, I think.
I don't know that crab is nutritious enough to live off of by itself.
just gonna start mainlining it now. Yeah, just out of
right
defiance.
into the
Yeah,
veins.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, do it. Deadlock is still a good game. To answer my question from 5 minutes
I
ago.
accepted your invite. I just haven't downloaded it yet.
Oh yeah. No, we should play. I did get another group of friends, some coworkers to play the other night. That was fun. So I'm indoctrinating more people. Yeah, no, it's super fun. And to my shame might be the right word. But because of some discussions that came up in my friend group as we were playing Deadlock, I dipped my toe back into Overwatch, which I haven't touched in years, and I'm like, ooh, that is a nostalgia hit that it hits very good.
Fun? Still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My feeling about Overwatch has always been like, whenever you have a skill-based game that's been around for a long time and has started to decline in player base, you mostly only get left with the sweatlords.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
And I've never been good at FPS in general. I usually have fun when a game first comes out, and I play with a lot of other people who apparently have palsy. But like, yeah, whenever I get on Overwatch with friends, like within the last few years, it's always a train wreck.
Yeah, no, I didn't say it was good or that I performed well.
But you had a good time.
I've dipped my toe in like 2 or 3 games total. But I was like checking out because apparently they're undoing some of their decisions for what made Overwatch 2.
Are they going to undo their decision to not do Overwatch 2? Because I remember the only reason I wanted to play it was for PvE, and then they got rid of that.
Nope, that's part of what they got rid of too. That's not coming back, I don't think.
So Overwatch 2 just doesn't exist then. Like, what is Overwatch 2 then? There's no campaign, and they've changed the rules back to Overwatch 1 rules.
They're slowly making it that they
just the title screen still says Overwatch 2.
Yeah, that's about it.
Neat.
I think that's what it's going to end up being because
I am a grade A Blizzard hater these days. I
am mad at Blizzard. I used to love Blizzard. I would stand Blizzard. I loved everything that they did.
They were amazing until they suddenly weren't. And like I'm sure that the Activision buyout was probably the root cause of it, but it took a long time for it to truly ruin them. Like,
so I don't know if that's entirely true, because a lot of the things that came out and what's very interesting is that I follow a different actually successful video game podcast where someone's like actually is a journalist and wrote a book. They probably
play video games.
That's
we can't compete. Yeah.
Cool. But I'm waiting for his books to come out about Blizzard and like what happened, its whole history. And I will read that and I will tell you all about it from a journalistic perspective. But apparently my understanding is that there was a frat boy negative culture for a while.
The culture is definitely like, it sounded like it was bad even pre-buyout. It's just like, they still made good games despite that culture.
Yes.
So like at some point they decided to like fully cash out.
And I think Bobby Kotick being in the position that he was for as long as he was, and then I guess the Microsoft buyout is helping undo some of this, which is great.
Yeah, there were Bobby Kotick memes when I was in high school.
Sure.
Like when meme was like not a well-used word. and there were memes about Bobby Kotick ruining video games, and like he's still here.
No, he's gone. He's gone now.
Has he retired finally? I don't know.
I think he was forced out during the buyout. Yeah, I think he's actually out of the picture.
It only took like 20 years. Like,
yeah, it is sad. Don't get me wrong.
I have not been out of high school for 20 years. It's been 15 years. I don't know.
I want to say 15.
I'm going to my college 10-year reunion in a month.
Oh, really? I'm not.
A month or two. Yeah, there's an open bar. I don't know.
Oh, that would be the only reason I'd go. I still live in the town.
That's the thing. I live next door to it, and and it's an open bar. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe that makes it worth it. Anyway,
you want to call it here? It has been 52 minutes.
I think I'm actually shocked that we went this long.
Sorry, I just turned it into my own Baltimore monologue.
No, this is great because people can actually hear you this time. I'm certain. I'm certain that happened.
God, I hope so, because otherwise this podcast is just going to be empty.
if there's still issues, I give up. We're ending the podcast.
I cranked the microphone up to max. Like I don't know what else to do.
I mean, it's so okay. So behind baseball, everyone, Sheldon and I, like you were low last week, but I thought it was good enough, and I really thought that Riverside would
just tell me, because when my mic reboots itself, the volume resets to half.
So So that like I legitimately thought it was okay. Like I didn't think it was an issue. And then lo and behold, I was entirely proven wrong because I would normally be like, yo, we can't hear you or you're too low. But now I gotta be a little bit more careful about that. And stuff because I have no idea what happened. But yeah, if if you made it to the end of this episode and you've only heard me, I am so sorry. Thank you. Comment down below what you think Rowan was saying this whole episode, and this will be the last episode of the Game Corner if that's the case. No, but you sound good now. You're much louder.
Good way to call it.
We should be good. Anyway, I think that's it. Yeah, let's call it there. I've been Harrison. You can find me at row_ixon on the Twitterverse whenever I decide to tweet things or share stuff. Rowan, who are you?
I'm Rowan. You can find me on Twitter at Rowan W Hall. It's pretty much the only social media I use at this point. It's wonderful hell site. Growing a mustache. I think I might do Eggman for Halloween if I can get a bald cap in time.
I was really thinking you have that Robotnik.
It's coming in for sure. Yeah.
That'd be very good.
Maybe a fat suit too. It'll be good.
I was gonna say you're way too in shape to do a really good Eggman like Robotnik. But anyway, that aside, we've been the Game Corner. You can find us at Game Corner VGC, Game Corner, and other places. Everything's in the link tree down below. I really should. No, I refuse. I refuse to learn our social handles because it's more funny this way. It's all in the link tree. It's all right there. You don't need me to say it. You can click the links down below. And thanks to RobKTA for the use for our theme song, Goldenrod Game Corner off the Ultraball album. It is starting right about now in the episode. And no matter what you decide to play, until next time, press start and game on. Bye!